Get ready for a trick where the cards do all the work and you just look like a genius. It's totally baffling, completely self-working, and all you need is any shuffled deck. So grab some cards, hit subscribe for more confidence-boosting tutorials, and let's uncover the magic.
Okay, so as ever, let's just kickstart by taking a look at the effect itself, a demonstration in the power of attraction. And we're going to start with a shuffled deck. So just hand the cards to a spectator. They can shuffle those as much as they like. They really are mixed. Now, you're going to turn away so that you can't see anything that's happening. And you're going to ask the spectator just to think of a number, any number between 1 and 10. It's a totally free choice. Let's say in this instance, they think of the number 7. Make sure the spectator doesn't tell you their number. You're going to ask them to take the deck and just to deal a pile of cards to the table corresponding to their chosen number. So in this instance, 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Obviously making sure they do that silently so that you can't hear. And once they've dealt one pile, we're just going to ask them to deal another pile of the same number of cards. So another 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they can just place the rest of the deck to the side. Now we want the spectator to make a totally random selection. So you're now going to ask them to choose one of the piles, and it's a totally free choice. Let's say they choose this pile just here. You're going to ask them to take these cards and just to give them another shuffle, just to make sure things really are as mixed as possible. And then you're going to ask them to take the top card of this pack and to remember this as their selection. And here we can see the 3 of clubs. Now once the spectator has remembered their card, you're now going to ask them to charge this card up. And to do this just simply by rubbing the card in their hands, like so. And they can do this any way that they like, and you're just going to explain that this is transferring static electricity into the card. And this in turn enables it to be findable and attractable to other cards. So once a spectator is happy they've charged the card up, just ask them now to take their card and to place it on top of the other pile. Ask them then just to take the remaining pack here, to give these cards another shuffle, and then to place these on top, like so. At this point, you can now turn back around towards the cards. Explaining we want the selected card to be as randomly lost as possible, you're now just going to take the pack of cards here and give them a quick mix. And you're just going to do so by drawing off cards from the top and the bottom of the pack and placing them on top of the deck, like so. At this point, you can just emphasize with the spectator that their selection is well and truly lost in the deck. However, there is one way to find that card, and that's with an attractor card. And you can just turn the deck up here and explain that the 8 of clubs works really well for this. And you can just take this card and hand it to the spectator. Ask the spectator now to take this card, and just like they did with their selected card, to charge it up with static electricity in their hands. So once again, just ask them just to rub the card like so on both sides, just to charge it up and to really transfer static electricity into the card. And once they're happy with that, ask them just to place this card face up on top of the deck. With the attractor card face up on top of the deck, you can explain that we now want to lose that into the deck. So you can just take the deck and give it a cut like so in order to lose the attractor card. However, we want to make sure things really are as mixed as possible, so you can take the deck and just hand it to the spectator. Now you're just going to ask the spectator to place the deck behind their back so they and nobody else can see, and just to give the deck another couple of cuts. And they really can cut the deck wherever they like. So in reality, the deck will be out of sight so nobody can see, but the spectator will just give the cards a couple of cuts, like so, and then bring the deck back out to the front. At this point, you can just recap that the spectator selected a random card from a shuffled deck, and that card was charged up and lost back into the deck. A separate attractor card was then charged up and lost into the deck with multiple cuts. There's no way that anybody could know where either of those cards are. With that said, you can now take the deck and spread the cards on the table. And this will reveal the single face-up attractor card, the 8 of clubs, which we can see just here. And this card will be back to back with one other card, an attracted card, this card just here. And you can now remove this card from the deck. For the very first time, you can now ask the spectator to name their selected card. Of course, in this instance, it was the 3 of clubs. And now you can reveal that this card right here, found with the power of attraction, just happens to be the 3 of clubs. Okay, so let's take a look at the secret to this effect. Now, you really do start with a shuffled deck. The spectator can shuffle the cards as much as they like. You're now going to ask the spectator just to think of a number between 1 and 10. It's a totally free choice. Let's say in this instance, they think of the number 5. With yourself looking away, you're now going to ask the spectator to take the deck and to deal the pile of cards corresponding to their number. So in this instance, 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then to deal a second pile of exactly the same number. So another 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll now ask the spectator to select one of these piles, and it really is a totally free choice. Let's say they select the pile just here. Ask the spectator just to give these cards another quick shuffle, and then to take the top card as their selected card. So here we can see the Queen of Diamonds. Ask the spectator then just to charge their selected card up by rubbing it in their hands like so. This is of course all theatre, it really doesn't matter, but once the spectator is happy, just ask them to take their card and place it on top of the other pile. And then to take the remaining pack here, and with another shuffle, just to place these on top like so. You can now turn back around towards the cards and take the dealt pile here. You're now going to mix these cards onto the top of the deck like so, just drawing off the top and the bottom cards and then placing them on top of the deck. And you're just going to continue this for all of the cards. So top and bottom cards until all of the cards are on top of the deck. At this point, if you like, just to make it look as though things really are mixed, you can perform a full shuffle or some false cuts of your choice. In a demonstration, I performed a simple false cut to the table as follows, just cutting about 1/3 of the deck and placing it to the left, and then placing the rest of the cards to the right, and cutting off about half of these and placing them into the middle. And then simply gathering up the packs from left to right, and nothing has changed. You're now going to turn the deck face up in order to reveal an attractor card, and it doesn't matter which card this is, it can be any card. Here we can see the Ace of Clubs. Asking the spectator again to charge this card up in their hands, they can then place this card face up on top of the deck. Unknown to the spectator, this has now placed the attractor card directly on top of their selected card. And you can now lose these into the deck just by giving the deck one complete cut. For added effect, you can now ask the spectator to take the cards behind their back to give them an extra couple of cuts, just to make sure things really are mixed. And they really can cut the cards wherever they like. You can now take the deck and just spread the cards on the table. This will reveal your face-up attractor card, so here we can see the Ace of Clubs, and this will be back to back with one other card just here. And you can now remove this card from the deck. And all that's left to do now is to ask the spectator to name their selected card, and you can reveal that that is indeed this card right here, in this instance, the Queen of Diamonds.
And there you have it. Magic shows us that belief can make the impossible become possible. Hold on to that belief in yourself and in life, and nothing can hold you back. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.